NFC South here, and let's go on over to the next team here. And the next team we have is the Carolina Panthers. So, first things first, Holmesy, the Carolina Panthers, not very good. They traded away Teddy Bridgewater. They traded away some other guys. They picked up Sam Darnold in the offseason. Christian McCaffrey is back healthy, hopefully. But what do you have the Carolina Panthers going at this year, overall record-wise?
7-10.
7-10.
7-10 for the Carolina Panthers. I'm a big believer in Sam Darnold, man. I really am. I think Sam Darnold was a product of a bad team in New York. I think Sam Darnold got a raw deal. I think that he just got held back by horrible coaching. I mean, horrible coaching. Probably the worst coaching I've ever seen in my entire life. Sam Darnold had to endure. Mm-hmm. And I think Sam Darnold's going to have a good season. However, they do play a pretty tough schedule. And they play in a pretty tough division with the New Orleans Saints, who I've already told you I think is going to have a great season. Yep. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I told you is going to be a juggernaut. So it's going to be a tough division. But 7-10, I think with this schedule, I think it is a good season for the Carolina Panthers and Sam Darnold.
So that is a 2-game improvement from last year. They were 5-5, 5 and
well, they get
11.
Christian McCaffrey healthy too.
Yeah, which I think him alone is 3 or 4 wins for you on the season. So from 5 wins to 7. When Christian McCaffrey probably brings you 3 or 4 wins here, that kind of might be.
He played last year. He played half the season last year.
He played like 5 games, maybe 6 tops. He definitely wasn't himself though. He had that nagging shoulder injury all season long. So, but what game jumps out to you first here on the Carolina Panthers?
If I'm looking at the Carolina Panthers stats here, let me see where did I go here. Carolina Panthers, I guess the game that jumps out to me the most, other than their divisional games, is going to be that Week 4 matchup versus Dallas. I think that could be the difference between a 7-10 year and a 10-7, or maybe even 11-6 year. Mm-hmm. I think that game right there could really turn it around if they run into Dallas and win, because I have them at 2-1 heading into that game. I think that Sam Darnold puts a statement against the Jets Week 1. I think they lose New Orleans Week 2. I think they beat the hell out of Houston in Week 3. If they can go in and beat Dallas with Philadelphia, Minnesota, the Giants, and the Falcons on deck, this could be a very different team. Yeah. And so I think that's the turning point in their season. I have them losing this game. That's why I have them at 7-10. But if they win this game, I could easily see them at 10 or 11 wins.
So with that 10 and 11 wins, is that a playoff-bound team in the NFC in your eyes?
Let me see what I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many teams are in the playoffs this year?
7.
Is it going to be 8?
It's 7.
7?
Yeah.
No, but you know why? Because I've, and we'll get to it when we get there, but I've got every, spoiler alert, I got every team in the West making the playoffs.
Wow. Okay. That's actually huge. So that Week 4 game in your eyes is that kind of make or break game of the season here. So I actually have the Carolina Panthers actually repeating of last season. I had them going 5-12 just because I'm not a firm believer in Sam Darnold yet. I think he has a lot to prove, and he is going to play that way. He is going to play tight, the first 9, 10, 11 weeks of the season, trying to force the ball down the field, forcing the ball into, double coverage, triple coverage, and it is going to weigh on the team. And their schedule, I mean, looking at their schedule as a whole, it seems kind of it's definitely not easy, but it's not super tough either. But I'm circling that Week 12 game right before the bye when they travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. I have them at this particular time. I have them at 4 wins going into this game. If they do have 3 or 4 wins going into this game, and they happen to lose this game versus the Miami Dolphins, it would not surprise me if Sam Darnold is on the bench after the bye week. And
Really?
I think if Sam Darnold is on the bench after this
Wow.
bye week, his career is over in the
I don't
NFL.
think Sam. I don't think that. Look, I'm a big believer. I think. I think you've gotten so used to seeing Sam Darnold in New York that you just can't imagine a world where Sam Darnold is good. But I'm
Right.
telling you, he is not Mark Sanchez. He is not any of these other New York Jets quarterbacks that have failed over the last however many years,
Right.
as bad as this organization has been. Sam Darnold is talented. Sam Darnold is better than he was when he was with the New York Jets. You're going to see that come out. You're going to be impressed. But at the end of this season, you're going to come to me. You're going to be like, Combs, you're right about Sam Darnold, man. I'm impressed. Carolina's got a bright future.
Yeah, but if he's struggling, if he's forcing the ball down the field and trying to make his name for himself, and they'll have 4 wins like I expect them to have going into this Week 12 game, Will Greer sitting there. I mean, they drafted him a couple years ago. I believe he's from West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. And you have to see what you have in him. Like, if you have something in Will Greer, he could possibly be your starter. Or do you trade off Sam Darnold and him and get Aaron Rodgers, or just like there's so many possibilities that are basically weighing on this
First,
Week 12 game.
if Green Bay doesn't trade Aaron Rodgers this year, they're not trading him at all. And if they do trade him this year, whoever he goes to, they're not trading him again.
Right.
So you're not getting Aaron Rodgers. But I don't think that this. I don't know. I think that Sam Darnold is the quarterback of the future in Carolina. I really do. I think he's going to head this team for probably the next 5 to 10 years easily.
Okay, so Luke G asked us a great question on his show yesterday. He asked, "What do you consider long term in the NFL?"
Yeah, I heard that.
Tori
Yep.
said 3 years, and I
3
said
years.
5 to 7. What is your ideal as long term? Like what is your year wise as
It
long
depends
term?
on what you're talking about. Are you successful? Because if you're successful, long term could be 5 to 10. I mean, look at Bill Belichick, 20 plus
Right.
years with an organization. If you're not very successful, if you're consistently losing, and you're the coach, 3 years is good. If you're a quarterback and you're consistent, but you're right there, you're at the 7 and 10 mark, you're at the 8 and 9 mark every single year, you're going to get every opportunity to stay that franchise's quarterback. As long as you're not constantly going, as long as you're not doing what Colin Kaepernick did at the end of his career, as long as you don't go from 12-4 to 8-8 to 4-12 to 1-10.
Full disclosure, he is not talking about the kneeling either. He's talking about the lack of play. He sucked as a quarterback his last 3 years.
Yeah, he was horrible his last 3 years as a quarterback. So as long as you don't do that, you're going to get every chance you need in this league to succeed. So a quarterback's, long term is about 5 to 7 years. I would agree with you there.
Okay, so you have them 7 and 10. I had them 5 and 12 overall. I actually had them 1 and 5 in the division. Their only win coming versus who is it here? Let me look.
You have them at what?
Falcons. I have them at 5 and 12 and 1 and 5 in the division. Their only win in the division coming off the Falcons Week 14 after their bye week.
Oh, yeah.
What do you
I have them at
in
1 and 5 in the division too.
Beating the Falcons at home.
Yeah, I have them beating the Falcons at home.
Okay.
No, I have them beating the Falcons on the road, and the Falcons. Let me see here. What do I have?
So they play the Falcons Week 14, and then it looks like they play the Falcons at also Week 8. So Week 8 is at Falcons, and Week 14 is at Carolina.
Oh yeah, so I have the road team winning each one of those games.
Okay, I mean that's definitely not unheard of in the division whatsoever. So who is going to be your team MVP? Like what player is going to make this team go this year?
I think the easy pick is CMC, but I'm gonna stick with my guy. I'm gonna go with Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's gonna have a hell of a season. I think that he's going to have better coaching than he's ever had. He's going to have a better running back than he's ever had, better offensive line than he's ever had.
Receivers.
He's going to have everything better than he's ever had. And so I feel like he's going to be their MVP this season, and I think that over the next couple of years, with through some draft picks, through some free agency, I think Carolina can be one of those teams that sneaks up in the NFC South, which I think is going to be very good for a lot of years to come.
Yeah, and like I want to go with Sam Darnold as well, but like obviously Christian McCaffrey is the easy pick, and I don't want to have the same player as you here. So I'm gonna go with DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is gonna be that X factor in that receiving core, and if he could eat a lot this year, that means Sam Darnold is doing good. That means Christian McCaffrey is like eating too, because he has time to Sam Darnold has time to pass the ball because they're respecting the running game and the short passing game. And DJ Moore is going to get open down the field a lot. So if he is doing well, the team is going to be doing well. So I think DJ Moore is going to be that X factor slash MVP slash the player that you need on your fantasy team from the Carolina Panthers moving forward. So 5-12, 7-10. Any closing thoughts before we move on to the Atlanta Falcons?
No, I just think that the Carolina Panthers are going to be better than a lot of people think this year.